Yep, absolutely. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us with Ask Doc Live. It is the last day of 2020. And for some of you, it's already 2021. So welcome to the new year. We just want to thank you for joining us with Ask Doc Live. It has been a very eventful morning. So I hope all of you are safe wherever you are at. So just a reminder that the content of this program is to provide nutritional education information only. This program is not meant to take the place of your primary care physician. The FDA does require us to let you know that our products are not meant to treat, prevent, diagnose, and cure any diseases. Any testimonials shared on this program are real life testimonials using the products that are spoken of. And they are recommended by Dr. Wallach and his 5 decades of research. As an empowered individual, you do have options. And we are so honored and blessed to be guided by one of the greatest doctors I know, because he's pushing nutrition, not pills, Dr. Joel Wallach. Dr. Wallach, hello, good morning, and welcome to another Ask Doc Live a day early.
Okay, well, thank you so very much. It's the last day of 2020. And thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, John T. Thank you so much, Nasima and the whole team. Appreciate it. I know we had a little bit of a struggle getting on this morning, but you guys did great. Thank you so very much. And so what I thought to do this last one was to give some very, very basic information. And of course, people can always go to www.drjwallach.com for my 15 books, over 100 CDs. There's 5 new ones out, okay, in 2020, including the red warning light that goes into all these pre-existing conditions that doctors think are due to aging, which are really all just due to nutritional deficiencies. And we have Black Gene Lies, the book and the CD. We have Dead Doctors Don't Lie in English and in Spanish for the Latino community. And the Black community and the Latino community have a struggle with longevity, okay, and health. And it's not a genetic thing, it's a nutritional thing, which we'll get to in a minute. And then we also have to look at the people who do it right. Who is the best in the world? We have the most expensive healthcare system in the world, okay? But we only rank 41st when it comes to life expectancy. There's 40 other countries whose peoples live longer than we, even though we spend more money for healthcare than all the nations, all the 200 plus nations in the world. We only rank 41st. There's 40 other countries who do better in life expectancy. So what's going on here? Well, let's look at who does the best. The Polynesians and the Asians do the best. And when you just compare something very simple like Hong Kong and Arizona, the state of Arizona and USA and Hong Kong, both of which are kind of city states, because in Arizona, most of the people in Arizona, they're alive or in Phoenix. And Hong Kong, of course, is Hong Kong. Both have 7.5 million people. And the average lifespan in Hong Kong is 84.6, and the average lifespan in Arizona is 71. Okay, so you live 12, 15 years longer just by living in Hong Kong than you do living in Arizona.
But it's not the climate, Dr. Wallach.
No, it's not it's the nutrition. It's not the climate, because they both have a lot of sun. It's the nutrition. You say, well, the people in Hong Kong don't supplement. Yes, they do. They live on algae out of the ocean and plankton and seaweed, which soaks up all the minerals from the ocean. Okay, and they don't have doctors telling them don't use salt. Okay, and they live on rice, whereas the Latinos and the Blacks in Arizona live on wheat, barley, rye, and oats. And wheat, barley, rye, and oats has a substance in it called pro-inflammatory cytokines, which kill the villi in your intestine. It's not a switch on, switch off thing. It's like you eat gluten tonight and you're dead tomorrow. It's sort of a drip, drip, drip thing over 30, 40, 50, 60 years. So when you get to be, say, 50, 60 years of age, you got all these pre-existing conditions, which is the subject of the book, Hell's Kitchen, and the CD, and the red warning light, the new CD that goes along with the book and the CD, Hell's Kitchen. And you go back in time, people did better. And for hundreds of years, they kept living longer and longer and longer and longer. And we're getting rid of diseases and getting diseases until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, on Pearl Street in New York City, on the bluff overlooking the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge, Thomas Edison and Jonathan Leibs pulled the switch in the first commercial electric generating plant in the world. Within 20 years, we had 40 new diseases that nobody had ever seen before. And doctors, because genetics was sort of the thing back then in research, so they blamed it all on bad genes because they'd never seen those diseases before. They're all just nutritional deficiency diseases. Why suddenly, after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, do we have the problem? Well, prior to electricity, people used wood for cooking in the wood stoves, and they had heat and they had light and in the fireplaces and fire pits out in the backyard for grilling and so forth. And they would take the wood ashes and put them in the garden. Well, wood ashes were not carbon. They were like 2% carbon, and the rest of it was the minerals that the tree had sucked up out of the ground. They put those minerals in the garden, so the carrot sucked them up. They ate the carrot, and they got the minerals that way. Now, they didn't know that. Grandma didn't know when she had all of her cravings, okay, that she's eating wood ashes to satisfy her cravings. She didn't know she was really minerally deficient. And so she had cravings, but she ate the wood ashes. How many calories are in wood ashes? None. Okay, now here's the problem. Within 36 years, the First World War had come and gone. And in 1918, the Spanish flu came through. And the Spanish flu, in America, we lost 657,000 Americans died in a 1-year period. 657,000 Americans died in a 1-year period. Our worst month was October of 1918. We lost 195,000 Americans to the Spanish flu. Okay, now why was that? Well, that's because they had switched over to electricity. There was no more minerals going into their garden, and they didn't have any bone marrow left. Your bone marrow is your immune system. And of course, and people began to gain weight because everybody, they didn't stop eating weird things when they had cravings, pica. And so entrepreneurs came out with pretzels and potato chips and corn puffs and all these snack foods and everything. So people would get these snack foods when they had the cravings instead of eating wood ashes. So now they're just getting wheat, barley, round, oat calories. They're eating the breakfast of champions, Wheaties. They're eating, let's see here, they're eating oatmeal. They're eating cream of wheat and all kinds of stuff for breakfast. They're having spaghetti. You can go to Spaghetti Factory and have spaghetti every night. Okay, gluten, 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 with those pro-inflammatory cytokines killing the intestine, the villi go away. And so here comes the Spanish flu. How well did their bone marrows respond? Well, they couldn't, because first of all, they weren't supplementing with the minerals anymore because they're using electricity, not wood, for fuel. They didn't have the wood ashes. And, nobody was telling them to take vitamins and minerals, but they were gaining weight. Prior to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, there were no fat people in America. But after that, people began to gain weight. And doctors should all be put in jail for this one, Rebecca, because they said, listen, you're gaining weight because you're eating too much animal fat. Give up animal fat and eat more whole grains. You've heard that all doctors say is eat more whole grains, eat more whole grains, eat more whole grains. Well, they all ate gluten.
Yeah, I've learned fat does not create fat, Dr. Wallach.
That's right. But they ate gluten, all their villi died and went away. So now their intestines look like the inside of a garden hose, okay, like a smooth plastic tube instead of a shag rug. They weren't supplementing, and so their bone marrow's dying. Now, they were getting vaccinations. They were getting, the flu vaccines. They were getting all kinds of that sort of stuff, but nothing was happening. Why is that? Well, first of all, vaccines, even today, vaccines do not kill viruses and bacteria and fungus. They just inject into you the DNA, RNA, and some of the proteins from viruses, bacteria, and fungus. So your body recognizes that as a foreign invader. So when the virus and bacteria and fungus come, they say, ah, I know that, that's a bad guy. So they send out the white blood cells to go kill and eat the viruses and bacteria and fungus. They send out, the stem cells make antibodies to go and kill the viruses. They send out red blood cells and platelets so you don't bleed to death. Well, when your bone marrow is dead and you have all these 7 pre-existing conditions like obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, arthritis, kidney failure, you have heart disease of all kinds, dementias, and they're saying, oh, well, you're 75 years old, you got to expect that. You only expect it because we've been eating gluten all our life, and now you only have 2% of your intestines with villi left. 98% is gone. Even if you're supplementing, you can't absorb efficiently, so your bone marrow is effectively dead. Your immune system is effectively dead. Oh, eat chicken soup. Well, if you're eating chicken rice soup, it's fine. But if you're eating chicken noodle soup with wheat noodles, you're dead. Okay, so let's look at a couple more pieces here. Let's see here. I looked up the Hunzas, who are from, you remember, you're too young to remember, but there was a book and a movie called Lost Horizon. It actually was written about a true story about a valley in Hunza between Pakistan and China, in the Shangri-La Valley. It's a real place. Everybody thinks it's a mythical place, Shangri-La, where people live forever. Their average lifespan, depending on the location in Shangri-La, their lifespan ranges from 150 to 160. That's average. The oldest one on record was a guy by the name of Dr. Tai Chin Yun, or Dr. Lin Yun. He was a Chinese doctor, documented by a vicious investigative reporter from the New York Times by the name of James Hilton, who followed this guy for a year and said, this guy's real. This is his, he's actually 265 when he died. Okay. And this was his stimulus to write the book Lost Horizon, which became the movie Lost Horizon. Okay, 1923, I believe it was. Okay, and so if you go back and you look at what's going on here, and you look at what's going on now, we're 41st in the world, even though we have the most expensive healthcare system in the world. We have more food than anybody. We have a predictable food supply, but it's all based on gluten: wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Wheat, barley, rye, and oats. And when you get done with that, there's more wheat, barley, rye, and oats. You gotta even read the labels on ice cream, because they put gluten in ice cream, and they put gluten in chocolate. You got to read everything. They don't say it on, you got to read the fine print for the ingredients. And so that's why we came up with the book Hell's Kitchen and the CD Hell's Kitchen. It goes into the story of electricity and how it's killing us. It goes into the story of why doctors said, hey, get off of animal fats. That's why America is becoming obese, and eat more whole grains. And then the gluten killed us. Okay, so why is it that the Latinos and the Black people have the highest rate of infections, of viruses and death, and from all kinds of diseases? Well, gluten, 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 and they don't have a history of supplementation. And so they die of all these pre-existing conditions, which are not age, they are nutritional deficiencies. So I urge everybody, whether you're white or black or red or yellow or Latino, get a hold of the book, Black Gene Lies, and there's a CD that goes along with it. And every Black kid in America, every Black kid in the world needs to listen to that CD twice a week and read the book once a month for their life. They'll add 25 to 50 healthful years to their life at least. And then, of course, the book and the CD, Hell's Kitchen, and the new CD that goes along with it, the Red Warning Light, okay, goes into the story again of the electricity starting off the problem, coming up with all these diseases because, suddenly now we didn't have the wood ashes for supplements anymore. So we're gaining weight and getting fat. And doctors said, stop eating animal fat and eat more whole grains. And then the gluten killed us. Okay. And so all these people that live to be 150 to 160 in their average life expectancy, their food is beans and rice, taro root. Okay. They eat a lot of seaweed and algae. They eat a lot of meat. They have sheep and cattle and goats. Okay. But guess what their main fuel is? You guessed it, wood. They're still putting their wood ashes in their gardens, and they're the ones who live to be 150 to 160. And when you look at Hong Kong, their food is based on rice and sweet potatoes and seafood, seaweed and kelp and algae and stuff like that. They live to be 84, and Arizona people, the same population, they live to be 71. But they live on wheat because they're 31% Latinos and 40% Black. And so they're eating all the bad stuff, where the people in Hong Kong are eating all the good stuff. It's not a genetic thing. It's a totally different dietary path. Now, you take your 90 essential nutrients, you're going to guarantee your body, like this morning, I just had 3 soft poached eggs for breakfast with rice, and I had our pink Himalayan salt on it. Well, you can't have salt, it's bad for your blood pressure. Fire your doctor. Salt is one of your most important supplements. Our pink Himalayan salt is the result of the oceans going away in the Himalayas thousands or maybe even millions of years ago. And so not only did the salt accumulate in that valley, okay, in the Himalayan valleys, but also all the minerals that were in the oceans. And that's why the salt is pink, because of all the minerals. Now I have my pink Himalayan salt for breakfast on my rice and eggs, which I've been doing for 73 years now. In 2 months' time, it'll be 73 years I've been doing that. I had my smoked Alaskan salmon for breakfast along with that. And then I had 2 of those little 4-ounce cups of yogurt with a gluten-free, sugar-free yogurt. And then, of course, I had all my supplements. I only weigh 142 pounds. I'll be 82 in a couple of months. And people think I'm in my 50s because of my energy. I don't have any wrinkles. I don't have any gray hair. I don't have any diseases. I don't have any diseases of aging. I don't have any of that. Everybody can be that way. But I've been doing this for going on 73 years. Okay.
So you've been smart a long time, Dr. Wallach.
Well, I don't know if I was smart, but they were going to put me in an institution. I was only 19. I was only 9 years old. I was only 9 years old. And for 5 years, I kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. I had diseases that nobody had ever seen before. They didn't have names for them. And there's one little old pediatrician. Her name was Mary Jane Skeffington from St. Louis. I'll never forget. She was the 20th doctor that my mom and dad took me to in 5 years. 20 doctors in 5 years. Mary Jane Skeffington from St. Louis. And she examines me like all the other doctors. She says, well, I agree with all these other doctors. You know, here's the symptoms, but we've never seen this before. We don't know what it is. It was, you know, it was autism and stuff like that, right? And we're going to have to institutionalize him. So I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, what does it institutionalize me? Well, they're going to put you in the hospital. I said, well, how long am I going to have to be there? And Mary Jane Skeffington popped up and says, well, unless we find out what's going on here, you're going to be in the institution until you die. Well, that didn't sound good to a 9-year-old. So when we went home, you know, when we went home that night, everybody went to bed at the usual time after feeding the cows and, you know, all that kind of stuff on the farm and putting wood in the fire place and into the fire stove so we'd have hot bone soup in the morning, that kind of thing. But I stayed up and I sat there thinking, well, if I'm going to go to this institution, that doesn't sound very good. And I'm thinking, well, why is it some people don't have what I have? How come I've got something that nobody's ever seen before? And then he said, okay, you know, we eat out of this garden and the animals, you know, in the backyard, like our chickens and the pig we're fattening and the sheep we're fattening and the calf we're fattening, they eat out of the same garden and they don't have the problems I've got. And I thought there for quite a while. And then I said, uh-oh, we're giving them these vitamins and minerals on top of what's in the garden. Instead of just the garden, I'm just eating the garden. So the next morning, when everybody else went and started their chores, I ran right to the barn and began to eat all these vitamins and mineral tablets that we gave the calves and the pigs and the chickens and so forth. I did it twice a day for 3 days, and in 3 days' time, I was cured. What 20 doctors couldn't deal with over a 5-year period. And they're going to institutionalize me because they didn't know what it all was. And I was getting violent. And so even at 9 years old, I could be dangerous, okay? And so I figured it out. And that's what drove me into the path we're on now. And of course, I ran into the first mass die-off in America in 1961. I was only 21 years old. I had my degree in agriculture. I was 2/3 of the way through my degree in veterinary medicine. I was halfway through my degree in pathology, and I ran into the first mass die-off in pathology in America from pollution. And I got it all written up for publication, and when it got published in scientific journals, because it was the first time and everybody ever seen it, 500 died in one night. And it came to me. Everybody else was on vacation for Christmas in December of 61. I'm 21 years old. Everybody else is off. I get the case. So I wrote it up in these 2 scientific journals. I gave copies to governors and senators and US congressmen, judges. I gave it to everybody I could think of, lawyers, doctors. I gave it to medical schools. I gave it to Marlon Perkins, who I'd worked with in the kiddie zoo for many years. And I was so excited. Well, then in 1964, I graduated. I had 2 years left to finish my pathology degree. So I went to Iowa State University in Ames, Iowa to finish it. And 1 year into that, I get a letter from Perkins saying, look, we got a big project in Africa and I like the way you do science. So I want you to be on this project in Africa. And it was my first book I ever wrote. It was called Rhino Express. We were on the White Rhino Conservation Project. And so I caught 200 white rhino with the M99 etorphine, very, very strong barbiturate or opioid, and sent them here. So if you see a white rhino in a zoo or wild animal park, it's either one that I caught or offsprings of the one that I caught. Now there's 25,000 of them. Back then in 1965, there was only 470 left, and now there's 25,000 because
Wow.
I saved them. And it's all written up in this book, my first book, The Rhino Express. Now, here comes the deal. Then I'm prepared to stay in Africa forever. I'm having the time of my life. Okay. I delivered my second baby out there. I mean, I'm in the bush. I didn't speak English for 2 years, Rebecca, because there was nobody there who spoke English. I had to learn Zulu and Matabele and Afrikaans, and I couldn't speak English for 2 years. If I wanted to eat, if I wanted something, I had to say it in their language. They just sit there and stare at me until I came up with a word. Okay. So then Perkins sends me another letter after 2 years in Africa. He says, I know you're having the time of your life. Your book is great, blah, 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 blah. But I need you back here now. And I got a $25 million grant using your paper on the first mass die-off in America from pollution. 500 died in one night. He said, I used that paper and I got a $25 million grant from the National Institutes of Health, and you're going to be the pathologist on the project. He says, if you want to go back to Africa after the project, it might be 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, I don't know. I'll send you back there. I said, you're on. You can't refuse Perkins. So I came back, did 20,000 autopsies at the Washington University in St. Louis, the Center for the Biology of Natural Systems, 20,000 autopsies. It's in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. And I'm going to tell you one more thing, and then I'll turn it back to you. There's one more thing, Rebecca, is when my thesis came out, it was originally 5,000 pages representing these 20,000 autopsies, 5,000 pages. 17,000 some change of over 454 species of zoo animals sent to me from all over the world, and 3,000 human beings. And of course, 20 million chemistries and slides and all this kind of stuff, all in this thesis, 5,000 pages. And so I got it written up as this thesis, and W.B. Saunders, which was the big medical textbook publishing house back in the day, they bought the rights to that thesis, and they made it into a textbook. They put a hardcover on it, and they said they couldn't sell them at 5,000 pages, so they edited it down to 1,200 pages. It was all had the same meaning, but they had I'm just a kid. I don't know all the scientific words, right? But so they had all these top scientists use one word for 2 sentences, and so they got it down from 5,000 pages down to 1,200 pages. And it was called The Diseases of Exotic Animals. Diseases of Exotic Animals. Now you can go to Siri now or Amazon now and ask, are there any copies of Dr. Wallach's textbook, The Diseases of Exotic Animals, available for sale? And I have to tell you, when they first came out, W.B. Saunders printed 30,000 copies. They sold them in 6 months, Rebecca, at $25,000 each. People paid $25,000 each for that book, my thesis. Now, today, well, they sold them in just it was like 30 days they sold them. Okay. And so they reprinted them again, another 30,000. They sold them in 6 months at $25,000 each. And so if you go to Siri now on Amazon now, you can get it. They'll be beat up and the cover's ripped off and the dog has peed on them and people have written in the margins and things. They sell for an average of $4,500 each, beat up that way. If they're in good condition, they'll sell from $6,000 to $8,000 each. If they're in very, very good condition, they'll sell from $8,000 to $12,000 each. And if you can get them still new in the box, in the wrapper, never opened up, they sell for $25,000 to $35,000 each. Now, okay, now you're buzzing. I can't hear you. All I can hear is buzzing.
Okay, that's great information, Doc. That's amazing. Now, is that the one that's in the Smithsonian as well?
This is the one that's in the Smithsonian Institute. It's a hardcover. It's a dark navy blue cover. Exotic disease of exotic animals. You know, when they ask Siri about it, it'll pop it up and it'll tell you the prices. And then it says other options. So you punch the other options and it comes up the more expensive versions that are in better condition. Okay. And then it's one of those things where now I have 15 books. And of course, probably the one that's really the killer of all killers is epigenetics, the death of the genetic theory of disease transmission. I knew that when that original book came out, The Disease of Exotic Animals, there were no genetic diseases. And that's why there are no more cases of cystic fibrosis, muscular dystrophy, and sudden infant death syndrome, because I'm the guy that figured out the cause and got rid of them.
You are the man, Doc. You are the man. Excellent. Thank you for sharing all this great information and free consultation on a weekly basis. I just want to let everybody know that today we're meeting on Thursday, but as of next week, we'll be back to weekly Friday meetings on Ask Doc Live meetings. Also, Doc, you mentioned several great food recommendations. I'd like to let everybody know to go to your one-stop shop website, which is askdoclive.com. You can also purchase books other than the one that's in Smithsonian on that website as well, and look at the previous recordings of all these meetings as well, and do share them. Don't keep this information to yourself. Share it with your friends and family. We want to grow, invite people to our meetings here. Great opportunity to get a consultation. And if you are new to longevity and want to get started on at least the minimum, as Doc says, the basic 90 essential nutrients daily as long as you breathe, please call our seasoned phone team by phone at 855-949-7234. And you can join our team as a preferred customer or a distributor to have the potential to earn commissions and pay for your supplements. And I see, Doc, you're holding up several books. We've got all those books, CDs, and DVDs on there. Just one more note, when asking your question to Doc, you can raise your hand over here in Zoom or type your questions in the chat. And please, if you're typing it in the chat, make it concise and complete in one post, so we don't have to toggle up and down to try and get all the little bits. And be available because Doc may have more questions for you. And enjoy listening to this free consultation Doc's giving you and the protocol, because you can go listen to the recording at another time later today, hopefully, and pause, rewind, take notes, etc. So Doc, about your books and CDs, you have some that are in CDs and you've got some new ones that you've come out with.
Yes, and I want to thank you for bringing that up. We do have some new CDs and new DVDs, and of course the newest book is It's All in Your Head. There's 25 different diseases, at least. There may be more, but I know of 25 different diseases that people can get when they have osteoporosis of the skull. And your doctor will send you to his golf buddy who's a neurologist or a dentist or an eye doctor, an ear doctor, or somebody who deals with neurology. You may have peripheral neuropathies. You may have ringing in your ears and balance problems. Your vision's getting worse and so forth, or you've been blind for 6, 8, 10 years and so on. And these are the sort of things you find in this book. It's all in your head. And I show you how to get rid of all these diseases in weeks. I actually had a wager, Nasima, with an eye doctor who called me a liar in a meeting because I said I could reverse blindness, even if people were legally blind 6, 8, 10 years, diagnosed with macular degeneration. And we had a wager. And to make a long story short, in 90 days, 27 patients that he had diagnosed with macular degeneration, they were legally blind 6, 8, 10 years, could read 20/20 without glasses in 90 days because I put them on our program, put them on our diet, and put them on the 90 essential nutrients with specific things for those issues. And he had to pay off. And the best part of the payoff was, of course, he had to also buy me a steak dinner at Ruth Chris's Steakhouse, had to get me a very expensive bottle of red wine from France. But the most important thing, well, there were two important things. Number one, he had to pay for the supplements for those 27 patients that he put on my program. Okay. And he had to pay for their supplements. And then the most important thing was he had to stand on the street corner for an hour every weekend in his town in Salt Lake City, okay, Utah. And he had to stand there for an hour in the rush hour on Saturday and say, I am a liar. I am a failed eye doctor. And he held up a
Doc,
sign.
I love your sense of humor. You are too funny, too funny.
And he paid off. He paid off. He did it.
Wonderful, wonderful. And that's a very special quality Doc has, amongst being so awesome and accomplished in so many different things. I love to call him the doctor, the detective, because he really gets down to the, what's the root cause of the issue and how you can help it with your foods and nutrition. So, talking about the Healthy Start Back, I want to let people know, and you talked about eye things, that other items and supplements can be added on to the basics. So it's not that you take one thing and stop everything else. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. Well, we have what we call the secret sauces, Nasima, and thanks for asking the question. We have what we call secret sauces for over 600 different diseases. Okay, now some of these secret sauces will deal with 15 different diseases, but there's these secret sauces for over 600 different diseases. And our basic program is the Healthy Start Pack. It has the basic 90 essential nutrients in it. The biggest hammer we have in our toolbox is what we call the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. We could have called it the Healthy Brain and Heart and Lung and Liver and Kidney and Muscle and Bone Pack, but that would have been too complicated. So we just call it the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. But then we have all these secret sauces for all these other issues. If you have type 2 diabetes, it's not a genetic thing. And here's the most beautiful thing about this. I want people to have meetings like every Tuesday night or every Thursday night at their home with their family. And it's really easy today because you can do it by, you can do it by online and virtual and so forth, and have meetings with your families and friends and pastors and workmates and church mates all over the place. My grandma used to have meetings every Tuesday night. We didn't have electricity till I was 9 years old. We would have meetings in her kitchen, and she would tell us what herbs to use for what disease and so forth, and what to eat and how to get bigger carrots in their garden. And that went on until I was 9 years old when we got electricity, and then suddenly now we had radio, and we didn't have TV yet, but we had radio and so forth. And so that was a big hoo-ha. And it's one of those things where we're not having those things anymore. So people are kind of left to their own devices. So this is the beauty of these things. If you have a kind of a regular weekly meeting or a bi-weekly meeting where you have 2 meetings a week with your family, your friends, your church mates, and so forth, give them the information. And I want to go back 2,300 years ago when this all started. There was a guy by the name of, let's see here, this guy was considered to be the father of medicine, okay, father of modern medicine, okay. And this guy, he wrote textbooks. He started the first medical school, okay. And he came up with what was called a corpus. He came up with a corpus, which is a body of information. Corpus is Latin for body, okay. And this guy was so interesting, but back then they didn't know. They didn't have microscopes and slides and ability to culture things. So they didn't know the cause of things, but he learned what herbs to give to get rid of symptoms. Okay. And so that's what doctors do today. There's only one class of pharmaceuticals that cure anything, and that's antibiotics. They will kill streptococcus, staphylococcus, salmonella, E. coli, that kind of stuff, right? Antibiotics will do that. But other than that, all other prescription drugs just treat the symptoms, just like back in 2,300 years ago. Now, so I came up with a corpus to replace his corpus. It's called the Wallach corpus. Okay. And I go in and deal with all these diseases that doctors say are genetic that are not. And this, of course, goes along, the Wallach corpus goes along with epigenetics. There's a 2 CD set where epigenetics goes along with the book. And it's one of those things where once you know what the cause is, you take your 90 essential nutrients, you have, let's say you're 50, 60, 70 years old and you have 12 diseases you're seeing doctors for. You're going to 3 different specialists, and some doctors have given you prescriptions. And so you got arthritis, high blood pressure, diabetes. You've been on dialysis 6 days a week for 10 years because you haven't urinated in 10 years. I take those people in 2 weeks' time, they're urinating because I treat the problem as opposed to just the symptom. I mean, just think of the money and the misery and the expense in time and money that people have to spend if they're on dialysis for 25 years. But I get them off of dialysis and they haven't urinated in 10 years. They're on dialysis 6 days a week. And in 2 weeks' time, they're urinating. So they drop them down to 3 days a week dialysis. And in 2 more weeks, they're totally off of dialysis after 25 years. I do this thousands of times a month all over the world. When you have dialysis, 99% of the time, there's nothing wrong with the kidney. Well, my blood test showed my kidney wasn't filtering the blood. Well, that's true. That's because your arteries were blocked and the dirty blood never got into the kidneys. It wasn't a kidney problem, it was an artery problem. So I treat the artery problem and it goes away.
Wonderful, wonderful. Rebecca, how's your technical stuff going? Okay, we still cannot hear you. Sorry about that. Rebecca, our chief host here, has a storm over there where she's living, and so has some technical issues with power and connection. So we'll try again, Rebecca. Sorry, we couldn't hear you. Doc, is this a good time to start taking some questions?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, and then just to let everybody know, we apologize. We started just a couple of minutes behind. Thank you for taking the time. Hope you all had a Merry Christmas, if I forgot to mention that, or a happy holiday. First question will go to Lance Lemons, who has his hand up to raise a question. Lance, if you can unmute yourself. We've asked you to unmute yourself.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sir.
Okay, thank you for taking my question. And thanks to Becca for all the work she does for us. And Dr. Wallach, I'd like to say my main goal in life is to be as healthy as Dr. Wallach. So that's what
you can do it.
But okay, I've got a couple questions for you. The first one is we have a client that I know she has osteoporosis of the skull because she's got tendonitis and bone problems, back aches, and she also has, she's telling me that her organs are vibrating or like shaking. She gets these shaking feelings.
Okay, tremors. Yeah, tremors.
Tremors, yes.
Yeah.
So do you think that's part of the osteoporosis, or is there something else we need to?
Well, it's, there's 1,000 possibilities, right? I haven't seen her. Okay, sometimes it helps to have a picture of her so I can see, does she have gray hair? Does she have varicose veins? Does she have COPD? Does she have diarrhea? Does she have constipation? How much does she weigh? I mean, there's a million questions that have to be asked before I can answer the question the way you ask it.
Okay.
No, we don't have time. Okay, we don't have time. Okay, you're taking too much time to ask the questions. Okay.
Okay,
And
all
so,
right.
so let me answer the question the best I can answer it at this point.
Okay,
Per
she's
100 pounds.
she's 120 pounds, 5'2". She's 70 years old. She has some gray hair, and she has no digestion problems.
Okay. Well, she might not tell you she's got diarrhea because she may be embarrassed. You know, what do I know? Okay. So anyway, does she have any skin problems, any eczema, dermatitis, or psoriasis?
No, she does not.
Okay. But she has tinnitus, which is osteoporosis of the skull. Very good. That's a squeezing of the auditory branch of the 10th cranial nerve. And of course, all of your organs, your lungs and your liver and your kidneys and your heart and intestines, everything get nerves from your spinal cord. And if you have a back issue, you get peripheral neuropathies where all of these things are being told to do something by your back is being squeezing the roots of those nerves. And a lot of people, they'll wet their pants. They'll have to pee every 5 minutes. They say, oh, you know, we got to catheterize them. There's something wrong with their bladder or their prostate gland if they're a male. No, it's their back squeezing the roots of the nerves to control the bladder. And so what I would do at 120 pounds, get her off of all the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, rye, and oats, no sugar. And then she needs to take at 120 pounds, 1 healthy brain and heart pack per month. I'd also get her an additional bottle of our selenium. Our selenium has 5 cofactors in it. Don't let her run out to Walgreens and get another bottle of selenium. There's 1 bottle of selenium in our Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, but she needs another one. So she can take 3 selenium of our selenium with the cofactors twice a day. Her hair color will come back. The odds are she has varicose veins and spider veins. Those will go away. She needs MSM. I want her to take 3 of those twice a day. That's 1 bottle a month to help rebuild the disc and the cartilage and ligaments and tendons. It'll take pressure off the roots of those spinal nerves, get rid of a lot of these symptoms. Certainly the tinnitus will go away and that kind of stuff. And maybe all those tremors will go away too. And, you know, these people, these doctors will diagnose 16 different diseases when really it's really a simple gluten problem. Got to get off of gluten, take the 90 essential nutrients, give the body what it needs, and everything comes right. And so it's amazing to me that doctors can get away with calling just a simple nutritional deficiency a genetic disease and still be walking the streets. Okay, you got time for a quick second question.
Okay, basically glaucoma and cataracts. Her cataract is just starting.
Okay, glaucoma. Now, is this another person, I'm assuming?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
Glaucoma is pressure in the eyes. Okay,
Right.
I'm assuming that she's getting drops in her eyes to help reduce the pressure.
Correct.
Okay, glaucoma. And then, of course, they get macular degeneration. That's something going on with the sort of lining of the eyes. You can actually get floaters, which is kind of like dandruff. You know, you get dandruff in the skull, you get dandruff from the lining of the eye. Also, that stuff floating around inside the eyes, kind of like dandruff in there. And then also they can get cataracts. So this person, do you know how much they weigh, how old they are?
135, 68 years old.
Okay, same thing.
5'5".
Get rid of all the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, barley, rye, and oats, no sugar. And then at 135 pounds, the same thing. 1 healthy brain and heart pack per month, an extra bottle of our selenium, take 3 of our selenium twice a day, a half a dose of everything else twice a day, 1 bottle of the MSM, so she could take 3 of those twice a day, help rebuild the skull. And then she needs the Vision FX, take 3 of those twice a day. The, let's see here, I would go ahead and take the Vision FX. I would also take the, some anti-inflammatory here. I would go ahead with the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets to get blood flowing into the eye properly, take the pressure off the eye. The Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, take 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. And then I would throw in the Occutive also, 1 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month because there's only 30 in a bottle. And then on these 2 cases, call us every couple of weeks and, you know, bring us up to date, see if there's any improvement, getting worse, staying the same, and we'll walk you through this. Okay, back to you, Nasima.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you so much, Doc, for that. And thanks, Lance. Just a reminder for everyone asking questions, please stick to the point. Be sure to have the weight of the person, age, symptoms right away, and that way we can get to as many questions as possible. We do have about 10 more minutes before we go on a very short 5-minute break. I want to let you know that you can get your good food, bad food list by going to askdoclive.com. And again, Lance and others, to listen to the information Doc has provided, you can always go back to askdoclive.com and listen to the recording and make notes, etc. And you will get an email reminder as well that the recording is available and invitations to the next meeting. So be sure to subscribe on askdoclive.com. To get started on longevity, please call our phone team at 855-949-7234. If you're an existing longevity customer or distributor, please contact the corporate longevity office or your upline. Longevity is a network marketing company founded by Dr. Joel Wallach. Thank you, Dr. Wallach. Let's go to the next person who's got their hand up. Shelley Foster. I requested you to unmute yourself. Please ask Doc your question.
Hi, Doc. Thanks.
Hi, Shelley.
Hi, I am 5'7". I weigh 160, 62 years old. I have osteoarthritis in my neck and spine, and I have hemochromatosis, so I have iron overload. And I want arthritis.
Okay. Now, how do they determine that? Do they determine just by blood test or bone marrow biopsy or what?
They determined my hemochromatosis with a DNA test and ferritin levels.
Okay. Do you have low platelets or in the normal range?
That I don't know.
Are you anemic?
No.
Okay, good.
I know that there's something in my blood panel that said the size of my blood cells are small.
Okay.
What the name is.
Okay. Microcytosis, I think it's called, where your blood cells are small. Okay. Do you have any skin problems? Any eczema, dermatitis, or psoriasis?
No.
Okay. Is this your natural hair color?
No. I'm a little bit gray.
Okay. Do you have any varicose veins or spider veins?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any hemorrhoids? Personal question. Do you have any hemorrhoids?
No.
Because hemorrhoids are just varicose veins in a funny place. So if you have varicose veins in your legs, you probably have internal hemorrhoids up, in your colon. Okay. Anything else? Do you have an irregular heartbeat, atrial fibrillation?
Yes. I have a irregular heartbeat. They said it was too many PVCs.
Okay. Yeah. Some doctors would call it AFib, atrial fibrillation. Do you ever have hiccups?
Not often, no.
Okay. What about things like tinnitus, ringing in the ears?
No. Once in a while, I get vertigo.
You do get some vertigo?
Once in a while, just for a short amount of time, maybe 5 minutes, a minute to 5 minutes.
Okay. But you do get vertigo once in a while?
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you losing any vision on a gradual basis?
I have a cataract developing in one eye.
In one eye, okay. But are you losing vision in both eyes on a gradual basis? Are they changing your prescription every couple of years or every?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you have osteoporosis of the skull. You have a gluten problem. Okay. And you don't have a iron overload because your red blood cells are small. If you had an iron overload, your red blood cells would be at maximum size, instead of being 7 microns, they'd be 8 or 9 or something like that, and bursting and bleeding and all kinds of stuff because there's too much iron. And so their diagnosis is not correct, and they're leaving out the fact that you have osteoporosis of the skull, all these various issues you have. And so what I would do here is throw in the, let's see, at 160 pounds, you're right on that cusp, but I'd go with the big hammer, okay? Get off all the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, bread, rye, and oats, no sugar. And then you don't have any diabetes or high blood pressure?
No.
They're not talking about dialysis for you?
No.
Okay, good. So get rid of all the bad foods. Then I want you to get on 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose, everything twice a day. And then I would have you get, since you have osteoporosis in the skull, have you shrunk any in height? Were you 5'8" at one time or?
No, I think my height's gone down a little bit though, but.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe a half inch or something So it's going that direction. Okay. So I'd have you take 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, the full dose of everything twice a day. I'd go ahead with 1 bottle of our MSM, so you can take 3 of those twice a day. And would also throw in the vitamin D3. I don't care if you live in Arizona or Texas or California or Florida, you still need vitamin D3, and because you have very, what should I say, very pale skin. So you're not laying out in the sun naked for 4 hours every day.
No.
No. So you need to take our vitamin D3, take 3 of those 3 times a day. I want your bone marrow to come back to life. Okay, make normal red blood cells and normal platelets and all that kind of stuff, and normal white blood cells, because that's your immune system. And then this is also going to help with the vertigo. It's going to make your arthritis go away. Arthritis is not a genetic thing. It's not a thing of aging. It's actually simple multiple nutritional deficiencies. And so we've kind of covered all the bases here. So give us a call every couple of weeks, bring us up to date. You're going to have a great story, and keep taking pictures of yourself every couple of weeks, because your hair color, what was your original natural hair color when you were 12 years old?
Blonde.
Okay. Well, your original blonde color will come back. The varicose veins will go away. The spider veins go away, and your red blood cells will come back to normal, because your bone marrow will come back to normal. Your arthritis will go away. And people forget, when you have what's called dysplasia, you can look up the word dysplasia. This is when you get bone marrow dysplasia, your bone marrow cells that normally make white blood cells that go in through your bloodstream and kill and eat viruses and bacteria. They make the stem cells that make antibodies that go through the bloodstream to kill viruses and bacteria. They make red blood cells and platelets. And when people get, oh yeah, I get hemorrhages under my skin, so my doctor's a little bit worried about that. Do you ever get hemorrhages under your skin? A little bleeding on your skin?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, no, you would notice it. You'd be a big blood spot on your skin. Okay, good. So at any rate, take a picture of your hair, take a picture of your legs, and then, 2 weeks later, do it again, and you'll kind of see everything changing for the better. Also, you should be able to stop this progression of the loss of vision, okay, where they keep having to change your glasses prescription. That's not an aging thing. Okay, that's osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the second cranial nerve, which is your optic nerve. Okay, it's just like a garden hose. If you squeeze the garden hose slowly, 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 the pressure in it begins to go down, and finally you stop the water from flowing out the end of the garden hose, right? Same thing is true with the blood flow into your eyes and the blood flow back out of your eyes. And so that's why you have these problems. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Dr. Wallach. We are going to go on a short break.
We're
so
back.
Everybody stay tuned. I am back. We got 12 inches of snow last night. I woke up with no power. I drove to the nearest town that my friend has a cafe. So I'm sitting outside of her cafe with Wi-Fi. And there are so many things to be thankful for.
Absolutely. We love you, dear.
So,
we'll be back in a few minutes.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Wallach, and thank you everybody who has taken the time out of their very last day of this year to join us. It's amazing that there are so many people that are interested in being empowered and taking control of their own health. And we can do that through nutrition, through food choices. It's simple. It's simple. We make it difficult, but when you really come down to it, it is simple. And Dr. Wallach has made it simple through the formulations that have been put together based on his 5 decades of research, including pathology. I don't know anybody that has done more autopsies and the pathology, the whole workup, than Dr. Wallach. So I am so blessed to be able to be here with all of you and with him and bring this information to you. So please, the person that shared this program with you, they have a lot of love for you. They want to make sure that you're getting information that's going to be benefiting you to help you with any of your health conditions that you are concerned about. Even if you want to stay healthy, get with them. If there's anything you have questions about with this program, you want to get on the products, you want to know about the business opportunity, get with the person that shared this program with you.
because they want to make sure that you have the best, not only nutritionally, but also improvement in financials. And I love the fact that this whole year has been so chaotic for so many, but it's really been a wake-up call in the fact that, you know, we really need to pay attention to our own health, especially if we have different conditions going on that affect the heart, affect the kidneys, affect the blood sugar in the blood, the brain. And there are things that we can do on our own because we're nutrient deficient, folks. We're not chemical deficient. Pharmaceuticals aren't going to do anything but mask the symptoms. And whenever you address the root cause, the body as a whole responds so positively. So I hope that you all get information out of this program. We do have some hands up. I have some comments and I have some emails that we're going to try to get to. So those of you who have your hands up, make sure that whenever you hear your name and we ask you to unmute, that you do unmute so that Dr. Wallach can ask you questions and he can actually see you as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Becca. We could hear you, and we're going to take our quick 5-minute break and be right back. Everybody stay tuned, stay logged in. You do not need to disconnect and rejoin. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Nashima, that was the 5-minute break.
Oh,
Dr. Wallach is back and ready to go.
no, actually, he just left. He just left. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there
Well,
must be
I'm
some
sorry.
lag time, some latency on the technical issues there. He just was waiting to go on break. Sorry, Rebecca.
Oh, and see, I thought I saw his camera go off and he was muted, and all right, well, go on break. Enjoy.
Hi, Becca, I'm back. Can't hear you. Sorry.
I'm back. No, I'm back.
There you are. There you are. I think there's just some, okay, Doc is just coming back on. So we've got maybe a minute still for the 5 minutes.
There we
So
go.
I do see him.
There's Doc, and Jonty will be back shortly. Hi, there he is, just right in time, just a couple of.
All right, so Dr. Wallach, I had a question, and unfortunately my audio
Sure.
wasn't working earlier, and it goes back to talking about the vac or COVID-19, okay?
Mhm.
And that they do have the vaccine out. Now, I had a mother contact me late last night. Her daughter is a registered dietitian. Everybody in the hospital was required to take the vaccine. And she had the vaccine on Christmas Day, and she has had migraines ever since. Is there something that she can do to counteract that?
Yeah, of course. Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes.
Okay. Basically, what she needs to do is get rid of all the bad foods. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, butter, rye, and oats, no sugar. And I would also have her stay away from caffeine and that kind of stuff, because she's probably staying up 28 hours a day, trying to get everything done in the hospital and everything, doing good work and stuff. And so there's all that stuff going on, bad food, chemicals like caffeine, who knows if she smokes, and all this kind of stuff. And so she needs to be on one healthy brain and heart pack per 100 pounds of body weight. She needs the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, so 3 of those twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight, to get blood flowing through the brain, through the heart, through the lungs, all kidneys and liver and all that kind of stuff. We do have the let's see here. We'd also have to take the de-stress capsules, take 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. And the Ultimate Niacin plus 1 of those twice a day is 2 bottles a month. And start there. It's going to give the brain everything. She needs to eat 3 eggs twice a day. I know that'll fly counter to everything the doctors will tell her. Stay away from eggs and cholesterol. Well, cholesterol is your best friend, okay? And so she needs to be eating 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks. No
All right,
gluten.
thank you.
No
No
breakfast of
gluten.
champions. No breakfast of champions. No Wheaties. Absolutely no cornflakes. Absolutely no. They even put flour in cornflakes. No flour tortillas. Okay, none of that stuff. No oatmeal.
And there's no oatmeal because the protein that's in oatmeal is very similar to the one that's in
Wheat.
wheat.
Yes.
So
See,
I mean, their composition, it's just a
wheat,
different name.
yeah, wheat, barley, rye, and oats are all kind of in the same, they're cousins, wheat, barley, rye, and oats. And that's why they all make beer from them. They all make scotch and bourbon and rye whiskey out of them, right? And they all make bread out of it. They all make crackers out of it. They all make pie crust out of it. And that's because it's all kind of the same. And they use it as thickener in some chocolates. They use it as thickeners in just about everything. And so you have to read labels. You have to read labels. That's why we go to extreme to put everything on the labels so people know where we're coming from on every product we make and sell.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, next, let's go to Nancy, who has her hand up. Oh, I don't see Nancy in the camera. So we're going to, oh, there she is.
Hey, I'm here.
All right, Nancy, you are on live with Dr. Wallach.
Hi.
Yes, I've had thyroid problems for almost the last year and a half. I had a parathyroid taken out last November, and I had my thyroid taken out in March before the shutdown. And I'm still having trouble. I'm on a 6 medication now, trying to get it straight.
Okay, why did you have your parathyroid taken out?
Because the calcium was way too high. And it was
No.
taking calcium out of my bones.
Well, why was it taking calcium out of your bones?
Because the calcium was so high. That's just what they told me now. I don't know.
Okay, well, no, I know the answer. I'm asking the question so our listeners are going to know where I'm coming from, okay? Now, the reason why your calcium was high, your parathyroid glands are pulling calcium out of your bones, that's because either you didn't have enough calcium in your diet, you weren't supplementing with enough calcium, and or you're eating gluten and you can't absorb it even if you are supplementing, okay? Now, did your doctor ever tell you to take Tums to get calcium?
After I had my surgery, he did.
Okay, your doctor needs to be put in jail, okay, because Tums has calcium in it, but it also
Right.
neutralizes stomach acid, so you cannot absorb calcium. So the parathyroid glands that are left in you are still going to continue to pull calcium out of your bones.
Yeah, because the last 2 blood work, I noticed it's going back up again.
Yeah. Okay, now listen to me. Okay, are you coloring your hair, or is that your natural hair color?
Color in my hair.
Okay, do you have varicose
And I got
veins?
175 pounds, 5'5". I used to be 5'6.5". I'm 65 years old.
Okay, and let's see here. 65 years old. Okay, you lost 1.5 inches. Yeah, so you've got a lot of things going on
Yeah.
here. So what I want you to do is get rid of all the bad foods. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, barley, rye, and oats, and also no cruciferous vegetables. No cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and kale, because they interfere not only with thyroid function, but they interfere with the cells that actually respond to thyroid hormone. So you got to get rid of the cruciferous vegetables. No cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, or kale. Then I want you to take it 175 pounds. Remember, none of the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no wheat, brown, rye, and oats, and no cruciferous vegetables, and no sugar. And then I want you to take the 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose of everything twice a day. I want you to get the MSM, 2 bottles of our MSM, so you can take 3 of those 3 times a day to kind of rebuild your bones and your disc. You'll regain that height you've lost. You'll rebuild your skull. And then because you have thyroid issues and they've taken your thyroid gland out, I also want you to take our, let's see here, Ocean's Gold. Take 3 of those twice a day. Okay, 3 twice a day, the Ocean's Gold. That'll be 1 bottle a month. I also want you to take our Fucoid Z, Fucoid, Fucoid Z. It's made from a brown marine algae, which you take 3 of those twice a month. That's 2 bottles a month. So you can, again, give your body what it needs to make the recipients of the thyroid hormone you're taking to replace the thyroid they took out. The receivers of that hormone, the other cells in your body that react to that hormone require these nutrients to respond also. And then I want you to eat 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks, 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks. And I want you to also take at least 1 meal a day, no more than 2. You could maximize 2, but at least 1 meal a day. I want you to take our keto caramel shake. And you're 5 foot, what now?
5.
5'5". Yeah, 5'5" for a girl. I'd like to see you weigh maybe 150. So you might need to lose 25 pounds. So I want you to have 1 meal a day, our keto caramel meal. They come, I think, 10, 12 in a box. Okay, most people can only eat a half of one. They're very filling. So eat it slowly. And
Okay.
you might get away with eating a half of one. So 1 box will last you a whole month if you're just having 1 meal. We also have a shake. And so sometimes you may prefer the shake for a meal instead of a bar. But at any rate, you'll lose a half a pound to 2 pounds a day if you do that. So in a month or 2, you'll be where you're supposed to be. And you don't have any high blood pressure or anything like that?
Just a little, not much.
Okay.
And I do have digestive problems.
Well, that's gluten. You got to get off of gluten. And
Yeah,
if you
because I
want,
had polyps at one time.
I'm sorry, you had what?
Polyps they had to take out.
Okay, yeah, that's gluten. And so, did your doctors tell you to get off of gluten?
No.
Okay, they are serial killers. Spelled
Yeah, I've heard that.
CER and SER. Spelled both ways. They are serial killers if they didn't tell you to get off of gluten. Okay, so give us a call every couple of weeks. I want to know your weight. I want to know your height. I want to know, when you go back in, say in 2 weeks' time or a month's time, your blood calcium should be down to where it belongs. But you're going to have to stay on this program forever. You cannot go back to eating the way you ate. You cannot give up supplements because otherwise, they're going to keep removing things out of your body, trying to find what it is that's causing your calcium to go up. It's going up. And you see this in a hair analysis. When people take a hair analysis, oh, my doctor says I'm eating too much calcium. The calcium in my hair analysis is off the chart. Well, that's because your parathyroid gland is pulling calcium out of your bones because you're not absorbing enough calcium from your diet or supplements, because your bone marrow is dead, because your villi and your intestines are dead. That's why. But that'll all heal and come back. Your hair color will come back. Your varicose veins go away. All this stuff. You'll look like you're 25 years younger, and you'll add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life. Is that okay?
That sounds great.
Okay, dear. Thank you.
And all that's on your website, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll go back and replay it and get all that stuff.
Yeah. It's
Yes,
www.drjwallach.com. www.drjwallach.com.
Yeah, I've heard you on Coast to Coast a lot.
Oh, yeah. George is the greatest.
Yes, he is. I just
All
happened
right.
to catch it one night when it was, you were already have to, when you were talking about the thyroid, so that's why I wanted to call in.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Dr. Wallach, while we're on the thyroid issue, we do have somebody that has written in, and she has hypothyroid issues with circulation, lymphatic issues. She said that she was very athletic when she was young until the thyroid issues hit. And she is gluten-free, lectin-free, and no red meat. So what would you say to that?
Okay, well, she's not supplementing properly, and she's getting gluten from somewhere, whether it's her spouse, her roommate, her renter, her dog food that she's giving her dog, or maybe she works in a bakery. Okay, she's still getting gluten. I had one guy yesterday, very, very big young Jimmy distributor, and he breaks out in eczema all over his skin all the time. He said, I am gluten-free. I don't eat gluten. I said, what'd you do for Christmas? Oh, we went to a Christmas party. Well, there you go. Everybody, I guarantee you, they had cake. And well, yeah, I didn't eat any of it though. Were you hugging people? Well, yeah, well, they ate it and they got the crumbs all over them. You hug them, got the crumbs all over you. And that's where it comes from. So it's cross-contamination. And so these people have to pay attention to those details or die. Okay, the people who pay attention to details add 25 to 50 healthy years to their life. The people who don't pay attention to details lose 25 to 50 years of their life.
So gluten, eliminating it from your diet, folks, is so important. So important.
Oh yeah, so important. And then you have to take the 90 essential nutrients, right? If you have issues, you want to take the bigger hammer. You take the healthy brain and heart pack. If you don't have issues, say, I'm 35 years old, I don't have any issues, but I don't want to get any issues. Well, you get on the healthy start pack. Okay, and if you're doing heavy physical work, I would throw in the MSM and some vitamin D3. And don't forget, what are you going to drink? You're going to drink Coca-Cola? You're going to drink Red Bull? You're going to drink Gatorade? No, you drink Rebound. has 100 nutrients in it. How many nutrients does Red Bull? Yeah, I have to ask Siri. How many? Somebody ask Siri. How many nutrients does Red Bull have in it? Probably 3, 5, something like that. If you include sugar as a nutrient.
Not me. No, thank you. All right. Thank you so much. Again, everybody, if you want to get any of the products that you hear Dr. Wallach talking about today on this program, you can go to askdoclive.com. We also have some of his most popular books there at askdoclive.com, and the replays from all of our programs.
And John, listen, Rebecca,
Yes,
when
sir.
they become a customer, they pay wholesale prices for our products.
That's
when they
right.
become an associate and one of a business builder, they also pay wholesale for our products. And when they get on auto ship, I pay the shipping. Okay. And if they become an associate, every time they sign up, they have to renew their franchise with us every year for $50, but they get $500 worth of sales and marketing materials for free every time they pay the $50 to renew, or the first time they come in, they get $500 worth of sales materials. Is that cool?
That is so cool, Dr. Wallach, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because with having a distributorship, you do not have to build your own websites. The company builds those for you, and they are ready to go from day one. We have a phone app that has information with professionally digital graphics and videos that makes it super easy to share with people. It's just amazing what Longevity has put together for us to be able to market and build a business online. And the fact that on normal days, I don't have to drive in snow to go to work, which I think is fantastic.
And you get the tax breaks of a billionaire. You get the tax breaks of a billionaire. If you run your business out of your home, you don't need a store, you don't need employees.
That's
and you
right.
get thousands of dollars worth of tax deductions every month. Say, come on, Wallach, are you snorting glue or something? Well, if you're running your longevity business out of your home, let's say your 25% of your home is your combination of your warehouse, your office, your little meeting room, 25%. And let's say your mortgage in your home is $2,000 or your lease is $2,000. What's 25% of that? That's $500 right there per month. Okay, so $6,000 in tax deductions right there just from that. Then the same thing is true for your utilities, your heat, your cooling, your light. I mean, this is crazy. Your phone bill, your car, your homeowner's insurance. And so it adds up to where it's thousands of dollars a month if you run your business out of your home for $50 a year and you get all those tax deductions. Holy moly.
And it's a franchise, folks. I mean, if we were to go buy a franchise anywhere else, it would cost us, well, some franchises are $500,000.
That's right.
Yeah. No, thank you. I like my $50 a year. It's amazing. Now, Dr. Wallach, Carolyn is 83 years old, and she experienced skin tags. She said sometimes they'll come and go, and then they'll just pop up in different places. She's got a nice big one on her neck, one under her armpit. What would be causing these?
Okay. So she's got to stop playing tag. No, that's a joke. Okay. But 83 years old, the odds are she has gray hair. She's got skin. She's got varicose veins. She may have eczema. She may have rosacea. She may have celiac disease. She may have ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome. Does she have hiccups? Does she have vertigo? Does she have ringing in the ears? Does she have arthritis? Does she have high blood pressure? Does she have atrial fibrillation? Does she have COPD? Does she have kidney issues? Is she on dialysis? I mean, I could go on forever for somebody who's 83 years old, right?
Right.
All of which are nutritional deficiencies thing. Well, your skin requires 90 essential nutrients also. So per 100 pounds of body weight, I'd have her take one healthy brain and heart pack per month because we only got one chance here. She's 83 years old, right? We want to add 25 to 50 healthy years to her life, even at this stage. So we want her to take one healthy brain and heart pack per month per 100 pounds of body weight. If she only weighs 120 pounds, she needs to get another bottle of the selenium for those 5 cofactors in there, because one of those cofactors will protect the skin from wrinkles, from skin tags, okay, and vitiligo. If you're a dark-skinned person, whether you're Latino or black or you're Spanish or Italian or something, you have dark skin, and you lose your skin color either in spots or the whole, one whole arm goes light colored and the rest of your body's dark. Is weird, but that's due to a deficiency of a single nutrient. The same thing that causes white, gray, and silver hair, causes vitiligo, causes also skin issues, wrinkles, and so on, and also causes a breakdown of the elastic fibers in blood vessels. So you get varicose veins, hemorrhoids, and you can also get aneurysms and die suddenly from that. Remember, we've got 2 wonderful CDs for people who love exercise. Well, I have my oatmeal for breakfast every morning and I exercise every day. Well, we have 2 CDs. One is called Exercise Without Supplementation is Suicide. Okay, and the other one is, let's see here, Exercise, what's the title of the other one? Exercise Without Supplementation is Suicide. Oh, Dead Athletes Don't
Dead
Lie.
athletes.
I was going to say, I think it's Dead Athletes Don't
Yeah.
Lie.
Yeah, dead athletes don't lie. Yeah, and so exercise will kill you. Exercise kills. It's a very, very bad thing. You do not want to exercise any more than you have to. But if you have to, you got to give your body what it needs to maintain itself. Now, here's the deal. Exercise, you burn up nutrients and you sweat out nutrients. Okay, you burn up nutrients, you sweat out nutrients. When you take all sports combined, all professional sports combined, Rebecca, the average lifespan of professional athletes. Now, this is from NIH and the CDC. Okay, this is not my data, that's their data. They say the average lifespan of professional athletes, when you take all sports combined, is 62, except for basketball. They're exceptional. Their average lifespan is 51.
That's exceptional?
Okay. Yeah,
I guess
exceptionally
that's an exception.
bad.
Exceptionally bad.
Well, that's why we came up with Rebound, specifically for Theo Ratliff, because he was only 23 years old. He was very, very highly decorated and had all these medals, because he's with the universities and so forth, a basketball player. And he goes to Atlanta, Georgia, and he gets fractures and he has all these joint problems and cartilage going off his knees and everything. So they take his contract away from him. So he's the one that we built the Rebound for, and the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack and so forth. And the Rebound. And in just 3 months' time, he went back and he got a $35 million contract. He played for 11 more years on our program because we built this program for him.
I spoke with him, not this past September, but the September prior, and he has so much gratitude for you, Dr. Wallach.
Well, he's a wonderful man.
As I'm looking up, I mean, super tall.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, he's 7 foot tall.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he's 6'11" and a half, and with his shoes on, he's 7 foot tall. And you imagine, 23 years old, you're 7 foot tall. I mean, everybody wanted him on basketball, but the cartilage was coming off his knees. The cartilage came off his one hip. He got fractures of his wrist, and they took his contract away from him. And it was actually Andrew Young, from the civil rights movement, who had bone-to-bone arthritis, and he had a schedule to have both his knees replaced. I rebuilt his knees, and he was so grateful that he was introducing me to all these black athletes. Evander Holyfield had a heart attack, and he lost his heavyweight championship to Michael Moore. Okay.
Right.
And I rebuilt him. Now remember, he had a heart attack. Every test they gave him, his heart showed normal. In a year's time on my program, he goes back and he beats, let's see here. It'll come to me in a minute. Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson, thank you. Yeah, Mike Tyson. He beat him to get the championship back for somebody who had a heart attack.
Yeah, so it's not too late, folks.
Yeah,
not
this is what these programs do. Well, my doctor said I can't do that anymore. Well, just remember, the average lifespan of emergency room doctors is 57. And that's not because of the stress. It's because they eat gluten and don't supplement. Whereas pediatricians and OBGYNs and gynecologists, their average lifespan is like the rest of America, 76. So what's the difference between the doctor who lives to be 57 in the emergency room, who lives to be 76 as a gynecologist. Well, all the people who make prenatal vitamins are giving them to these women, their clients, as samples. And so instead of giving it to their clients, their patients, they take them themselves. And so they're getting all these vitamins and minerals. That's why they live 20 years longer than the doctors who just live on whiskey.
That's not. Um, so, Dr. Wallach, Cindy is 58 years old, 5'5", 170 pounds, and she's noticed vision and balance problems the past couple of years. And she's heard you talk about taking supplements for osteoporosis of the skull, but couldn't write it down because she was driving. So remind us again, for osteoporosis of the skull, she wants to get the book. It's all in your head.
There you go.
That's for sure.
Okay, so you said
Absolutely.
she weighed 170 pounds.
170 pounds.
Get rid of all the bad stuff. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Absolutely no sugar. And she needs to take 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, the full dose, everything twice a day. She needs to take 2 bottles a month of the MSM, so you can take 3 with each meal, help rebuild the skull. She needs vitamin D3, 3 of those 3 times a day. That's 3 bottles a month to help rebuild the skull. She needs, let's see here, I would also have her take the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, take 3 of those twice a day. That'll be 2 bottles a month, so she can get blood flow into the brain. And then I also want her to get the Occutive, so she can take one of those twice a day, 2 bottles a month for her eyes. And she needs the Vision FX. She can take 3 of those twice a day. It's 2 bottles a month for the eyes. Remember that Ultimate Daily Classic tablets is very important because the eye gets the blood from inside the brain. There's a little optic nerve artery that goes through the skull, through the middle of the optic nerve, which is cranial nerve number 2, into the back of the eye. And then the vein comes back from the eye, back through that hole in the skull, back into the brain, and goes down your jugular veins and all kinds of stuff. And so when you're having all these kinds of problems, and you know you have osteoporosis of the skull, you have to deal with the veins coming back into your eye, the artery going out into the eye itself. And don't forget the brain, de-stress capsules, let's see here, Ultimate Niacin Plus, and 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks. Oh.
I'm back. I'm here.
Oh,
okay. So, sorry. Lorraine had a question. So when somebody has lost vision and they get on the program, their vision comes back. Her question is, do they still have to take the supplements?
Of course, yes. You know, when you're unconscious and they give you oxygen, they bring you back to awakeness. You still have to keep using oxygen, of course.
Yeah.
If you don't keep taking the supplements, within days or weeks, you might even die, or at least be back in the terrible situation you were in. No. You're still not going to get it from your food. Any doctor who says you can get everything you need from your food would be like your mechanic saying, don't put oil in your car, but it's a Jaguar. I don't care. You're wasting your money. If you put oil in your Jaguar, you're wasting your money. Well, just put dirt from Texas or Oklahoma in there. There's bound to be some oil in it because that's dirt from Texas and Oklahoma. An insane person would not follow that direction for their car. But when a doctor says to somebody, just eat well, you get everything you need. My doctor says,
I prefer what my doctor says.
Exactly. Bam, you're dead.
No, my doctor tells me that I need to supplement and get all the 90 essential nutrients, and that's what I'm sticking with.
Well, well, Rebecca, I actually have another business that I have. I don't tell many people about it, but I'm going to bring it up now because it's appropriate. I have a business that when people come to me and they tell me, well, I'm going to stick with my doctor's directions, I give them the brochure for the business, and I sell coffins.
That's horrible. Eventually we're all going to end up there, but.
Well, why go 50 years early? Why go 50 years early?
I was just going to say, I'm going to 120. So I've got at least 70 years.
Yeah, but see, if you live like the Hunses, you'll go to 160. Now remember, that's
There you go.
average. That's their average.
Twice of what it is in the unit. Well,
Yeah,
over twice.
Yeah,
Over twice.
yeah, they're the ones that reach the pinnacles of their longevity. Okay, they live to be 265.
Wow. That's incredible.
Documented and recorded by the New York Times, and that's where the book and the movie came from. Lost Horizon, James Hilton, very famous investigative reporter, and he wrote the book, and it was also the basis of the movie Lost Horizon. And Shangri-La, which everybody thought was a mythical place made up for the movie, is actually where these people lived to be 265.
Wow. That's fantastic. Let's do it, folks. Let's be empowered. Let's be empowered, take control of our own health, and make sure we're getting the 90 essential nutrients that Dr. Wallach is talking about today. And you can find those at askdoclive.com. We do have a store there where you're able to purchase the products. And even if you've purchased before, as long as you know your customer number and your sign in, you can make your purchase there with no problem. And if you're brand new, don't forget to get back with the person that shared this program with you. They have a vested interest in you as a loved one, and they want to make sure you're getting the information and the products that you need to address your health concern. For those of you who are here because of an email that you got as part of being our newsletter subscribers, you can always reply to that email as well, get information, or call our call team who is standing by at 855-949-7234. Again, that is for people who are brand new, who have never tried the products before. So Dr. Wallach, let's go to Manny, who has been patiently waiting with his hand up. Manny, go ahead and unmute yourself. You are on live with Dr. Wallach.
Well, first off, I'd like to thank just the opportunity, because just like you said, a friend of mine, he recommended me to Dr. Wallace. This is the first time I'm getting in contact with you guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
We hear you great. Go ahead.
All right. All righty. Well, I'm 165, 5'7", 50 years old, type 2 diabetic, and a little bit of cholesterol. So he told me, he goes, we got to keep you around. I've been working 2 jobs for 23 years. So it's been like 60 hours a week for 23, 24 years. So I'm starting to feel the signs a little bit.
Okay. All right. Do you have any other issues? Do you have any, let's see here. You say you have type 2 diabetes. Do you have any other issues? Anything like bowel problems, constipation, diarrhea, irritable bowel syndrome, anything like that?
You know what? Actually, a little bit of sometimes I feel like a little bit of discomfort in my stomach, as in like gas.
Okay.
Having to make myself burp.
Okay. All right. That's good. Do you ever get any hiccups?
Not too often, but
Okay.
I've had them.
Okay. What about ringing tinnitus? You know, that tone in your ear, like a little whistling in your ear?
A little bit. Oh, and the other thing I got to mention, I was an ex-professional fighter, so like I said, that was an athlete from say 10 to up to 25.
Well, did you hear my story about on Evander Holyfield?
Yeah, yes, sir. Like I said, I'll tell you, I got to fight guys like Sugar Shane Mosley and Oscar De La Hoya.
Okay, great. Did you ever hear of let's see, Honey Bear Virgil Akins?
No, sir.
Okay, yeah. He was a welterweight champion. I was his coach.
What year are you talking about that, gentleman?
Let's see here. That would be 1968.
Oh, see, the only guy as I know from 1968 was Armando Muñiz. He was an Olympian for U.S.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, I've been in the boxing world. My dad was a Golden Gloves champion. So I've been in boxing before I was born.
Right on. I hear you. I've actually out of California. I started out 3 gentlemen that became Olympians.
Okay, very good.
Two for the United States, one from Mexico.
So so type 2 diabetes and a little bit of other stuff going on.
Cholesterol.
Cholesterol. Do you know what your number is?
No, they said it was a little elevated, but it wasn't real high.
Okay, good. Well, usually they'll say Oh, yeah, yours is 220, it's too high. Actually, you want to be around 350 to 500. Okay, you have to appreciate cholesterol makes up 95% of the weight of your sperm.
Okay.
Cholesterol makes up 75% of your brain weight, the two most important parts of your body, okay? Your sperm and your brain. So you want to make sure you're eating 3 eggs twice a day.
Okay,
Soft
and
yolks,
how do I cook those?
soft boiled, soft yolks, soft poached, soft yolks, soft scrambled in butter, not fried. Hard boiled won't count. It's just, you might as well eat cheese, okay?
Okay.
But then at 165 pounds, I want you to get rid of all the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, barley, rye, and oats. And I want you to take 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, the full dose of everything twice a day. I want you to get 2 bottles of our MSM, so you can take 3 of those with each meal. It's going to help rebuild the bones and everything. And then because you have type 2 diabetes also, I want you to get 2 bottles a month of our sweeties. Take 3 of those twice a day. If you're on medication, take your fasting blood sugar every day. And as your blood sugar drops, you slowly reduce your medication based on the numbers. Don't cold turkey, from your medication right away. You slowly reduce it based on the numbers. And it doesn't take very long. And then also, I want you to get a hold of at least 2 books. One book is Hell's Kitchen, okay?
Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, it goes into all the things that lead up to what you're suffering from, okay? Hell's Kitchen. There's a book and a CD. And then equally, I want you to get the book and the CD, Black Gene Lies. I want you to be in Black Gene Lies, black, like black people, African Americans.
Oh,
Black Gene Lies. Yeah, did you ever hear of a pastor by the name of Creflo Dollar out of Atlanta, Georgia?
No, sorry.
Okay. Well, Pastor Creflo Dollar, I met him, gosh, it's got to be 30 years ago, okay? And his daughter was dying from, quote, a genetic form of asthma found in black kids, unquote. And so to make a long story short, she was in her 12th year and she was really in the process of dying. And Andy Young from the Civil Rights Movement, I rebuilt his knees and he was so grateful. He introduced me to a lot of people, including Pastor Dollar. And to make a long story short, we gave this little girl all 90 essential nutrients and got her off of gluten and off of fried foods and all the bad foods. And in 2 weeks' time, she's cured of a disease that she was supposed to be genetic and she was dying from it over a 12-year period. Well, now, of course, he's got grandbabies from that daughter and it's a beautiful family. And he paid for the printing of the first 10,000 copies of this book. Now, wow. he asked me when I cured his daughter, he said, okay, Wallach, he's very critical and he's right in my face. He's a big, tall, athletic guy, Pastor Creflo Dollar. He's in my face. He said, okay, Wallach. I said, Pastor Dollar, I'm giving all the credit to God. I'm on your side. And he says, okay, now this genetic thing, all these diseases like high blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, obesity, heart disease, cancer, all this stuff said to be genetic in the black community. Is that true? Is it genetic? I said, no, sir, it's all just nutritional deficiencies. He says, I want you to come to the church. And I gave a lecture at his church and he recorded it. And that was my first recording ever made was Black Gene Lies, was at his church. We sell millions of them every week all over the world. Every black kid in the world needs to listen to that CD twice a week for the rest of their life. They'll add 50 years to their life. Wow. And then he said, I want you to put all this information into a book, which became the book Black Gene Lies. Okay. And so everybody needs to read that book once a month and listen to the CD twice a week. All the diseases said to be genetic in black folks is not genetic. It's just simple nutritional deficiencies based on diet, eating gluten and fried foods. So your intestines, those little villi go away. You can't absorb nutrients, even if you're supplementing. And so with all these people having all these health problems in the black community, if they would just get off all the bad foods, supplement with a 90, it would add 50 years to their life, healthful years. Wow. So you are, I think you're appointed as an angel of God here.
Yeah, like I said, a buddy of mine, he recommended, he's been pushing. I go, I gotta do this. And before I take more of your time, Doc, I had another question regarding my wife.
Okay.
She's 5'6", 48 years old, 150 pounds, a little bit of high blood pressure and varicose veins. And once in a while when we're sleeping, I hear her stomach growling.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Does she have white hair? Any white or gray hair?
She has a little bit of gray hair. Yes, she dyes her hair.
Well, the same nutritional deficiency that causes gray hair is what causes the varicose veins. But it doesn't
Okay.
only cause varicose veins on the outside where you can see them. It causes varicose veins in your lungs, in your liver, in your heart, and your brain, and everywhere, right? So also causes aneurysm. That's why these young athletes die suddenly, you know, on the basketball court or on the football field or in the weightlifting room. They die suddenly, 20,000 every year in America under age 25. And so at any rate, at 150 pounds, she got to get rid of all the bad stuff. She can be on the same diet you are. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, brown, rye, and oats. I want her to take 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose of everything twice a day. I want her to get 2 bottles a month of the Ultimate Daily Classic tabs, so I can take 3 of those twice a day. That'll support healthy blood pressure. It comes down very quickly. Also, healthy blood flow through blocked arteries in the brain, the eyes, the coronary arteries in the kidneys, the legs, everywhere. And because she's having obvious digestive issues, I'd also have her get 2 bottles a month of our Ultimate Enzymes. Let her take 1 or 2 of those, say 5 to 10 minutes before each meal with a couple ounces of water, and it will stop all that.
Okay. So you told me the first one was an ultimate also. What was the first ultimate besides the enzymes?
Okay, let's see, the Ultimate Enzymes, and then she needs the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. You need the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets too.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 twice a day for you, 3 twice a day for her, because your weight isn't that much different.
3 twice a day, and then you said the brain one also.
Well, this is what they say. They're posting this so you can look at it 100 times an hour if you want to, but I can't keep going over it. Okay, but okay, Manny, I'm counting on you, brother. You are an angel of God. You are going to save so many people in the African American community, not only in America but the world. So let's get on it. You are the man. You are an angel of God. I really am looking forward to working with you, Manny.
I'm a guy that I talk and deal with a lot of people. I work with USA Boxing. We're gonna pass this message on. So just for my girl, the 2 brain, the 2 Ultimate Daily Classics, the 2 Ultimate Enzymes, and that's it.
And off all the bad foods.
All the bad foods.
If you don't throw it away. Don't throw it away. What you want to do is box it up and give it to your doctor with love. Do you ever see that movie To Russia with Love?
No, I don't get to watch too many movies, but I've already been talking about you to the doctors. I just went to the doctors yesterday.
Okay, well, give them all your gluten. Give them all your gluten. Say, hey, I'm going to come back in a couple of weeks, and I'm not going to have diabetes anymore.
I love the one you said, Doc, and sorry to interrupt you, about how we can cure animals, but we can't cure people.
Well, I'll treat you like a dog here, Manny, but you're going to get better.
So you can call me a dog, but just don't call me Rover.
don't call me late for dinner. Don't call me late for dinner.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and I will be getting back to you.
Okay, love you, brother. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thank you, Manny. You are going to have a great testimonial, that's for sure. Next, let's go to Tammy with her hand up. Tammy, go ahead and unmute yourself. You are on live with Dr. Wallach.
Hey,
well, thank you.
Tammy.
Yeah, thanks for getting on with me. I really appreciate this.
How can we help you?
So I am 5'10". I weigh about 207 and I'm 47 years old. I was just diagnosed with EOE. What is
EOE?
Well, I was hoping you would say that because I don't know how to pronounce it.
That's all right.
EOSINOPHILIC, esophagus.
Okay, so you have an esophageal problem.
Yep, there's rings. It causes rings in my throat, and my throat tightens up, so I can't swallow.
Okay. Now, do you have any ringing in your ear? Do you have a tinnitus? You know, that ringing tone in your ear?
No.
Do you have any balance problems? Any vertigo?
No.
Are you slowly losing vision to where you have to have your eyeglasses prescription changed on a regular basis?
Well, I've gotten cheaters.
Okay. And what about skin? Do you have any skin issues? Any eczema, dermatitis, or psoriasis?
No.
What about bowel problems? Irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis, celiac disease, diverticulitis?
No.
Do you have any joints that click and pop, you know, like shoulders, knees, back?
Yeah, okay. I would say so.
Okay, now, do you have anything going on in your thumbs and your fingers and your hands, kind of like numbness or tingling?
No,
What about sciatic? Any low back stuff? Anything going on in your legs and your feet and toes?
no, I wouldn't say so. No.
Okay, and say you're 5'10", 207. For a lady who's 5'10", I'd like to see you weigh maybe 160, 170 kind of thing. So you may need to lose 20 pounds or so. But you do have osteoporosis of the skull. Okay, you're getting a squeezing of the ninth cranial nerve. The ninth cranial nerve is the laryngoesophageal nerve, the ninth cranial nerve, glossopharyngeal nerve. Okay, when that gets squeezed, it does all this stuff, and you feel like you're always wanting to swallow something. There's always something in there, kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You have osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the ninth cranial nerve, the glossopharyngeal nerve, and the esophageal nerve. And you get on the program I just gave you. You get rid of all the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, brown rice, no sugar. 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose of everything twice a day. I want you to get the MSM, get 2 bottles of our MSM a month, so you can take 3 with each meal. I want you also to get the vitamin D3, take 3 of those with each meal. That'll be 3 bottles a month. I want you to get our enzymes, get our ultimate enzymes. Go ahead, and because you can also get what's called gastroparesis, where you get stomach pain, and they'll do an X-ray, or they may make you drink that stuff and do an ultrasound or something. Can't find anything wrong, but you have pain in your stomach. That's because that ninth cranial nerve is being squeezed. Do you ever have any fast heart rate, any tachycardia or AFib or anything like that? Okay, good. All right. Well, let's go to work here. Give us a call every couple of weeks. You're going to have a great story. And if you want to lose weight to the tune of a half a pound to 2 pounds a day, 1 meal a day, get a box once a month. Eat a half of one of these as your, one of your 3 meals a day. Most people cannot finish these. They're so filling if you eat them slow. So just eat a half of one of these keto caramel bars. It's dark chocolate.
They wanted to put me on an elimination diet.
Well, you want to be on an elimination diet. You want to eliminate fried foods, processed meats, oils, and glutens.
I know, but they want to take me off of like eggs and stuff like that.
No, you want 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, are you having any cycle problems? Have you ever had babies? I mean, you're a mama, or?
Oh yeah, I have babies.
Okay. Now, do they have any problems? Do they have any asthma or bronchitis or skin problems, or?
No, nothing like that.
Okay, but get them on the same diet, get them off all the gluten, get them on the 90 essential nutrients appropriate for their body weight, and you'll save them problems. You'll add 50 years to their life without problem. But if you don't, by the time they're 40, 50 years old, they will have the problems you're having now. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because those villi slowly go away and all the bad things begin to happen, and finally it all comes together one time and it'll be bad. So you can prevent that in them. You have a family meeting every week. You can do it virtually, that's why we have all these CDs and DVDs and books and whatnot. But you'll be great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. And Dr. Wallach, since we're talking about babies, we'll go ahead and ask the question, what can you give babies in place of formula? What would be the best option if there's breast milk is not available?
Okay, we actually have, we have what we call Kids Toddy. It's a liquid multiple supplement, and they can actually, there's llama milk, there's cow's milk, there's sheep's milk, okay? There's all kinds of sources of milk. There's whale milk, there's porpoise milk. Every mammal vertebrate, the first food for babies is milk. And I kind of look with wonder at people who say, oh, milk is bad for you, dairy's bad for you. Well, every vertebrate mammal, the first food that babies get is milk. How can you say milk is bad for you? Okay. And cows, it could be cow's milk, it could be sheep's milk, it could be llama milk. Okay. It could be any of those kind of things, but you do want to add the Kids Toddy to it. And don't forget to add the EFAs to it also, puncture a couple of the EFAs and squirt the omega-3s, omega-3 pluses in there. Okay, but the Kids Toddy will equalize and make sure that any source of milk that you get to feed the baby will be top notch and have all the nutrients in it. Remember, I'm the guy that eliminated cystic fibrosis. I found the first non-human case of cystic fibrosis in 1977. And I got fired for saying it wasn't genetic. And that's when I became a naturopathic physician. I was only a veterinary pathologist at that time. Okay. And they said, Wallach, you're out of your mind. That's a genetic, it's the classic example of a genetically transmitted diseases. We don't hear anything about it anymore. And I'll tell you why in a second. Then the next one I got rid of was muscular dystrophy. I gave the formula for Jerry Lewis and proved to him that it wasn't genetic. He got excited. He took it to the Muscular Dystrophy Association in 2011. They fired him. Okay. And then 2 years later, he dies. And then in 2015, the Muscular Dystrophy Association had to shut down the telethon because they couldn't raise a penny without Jerry Lewis. Now I'm going to back up a little bit. I'm going to back up. In 1988, Dr. Milan and I were in China. We did 1,700 autopsies on kids under the age of 10. 1,700 autopsies on kids under the age of 10. It's published in 3 languages. The English one is, let's see here, it's the biology of trace element research. The biology of trace element research. It's in there, and the work was done in 1988. It was published in 1990. Now, in that study of 1,700 babies that we did autopsies on that died suddenly of Keyshawn disease, which is a sudden heart death that young athletes die from, 35% had cystic fibrosis, 100% had muscular dystrophy, and 200 of them would have been diagnosed with sudden event death syndrome in the United States. I'm doing research on sudden event death syndrome, and I find that only 2% of the babies that are diagnosed at death with sudden event death syndrome were in bed with their mother when they died. 98% were not. So that piece was a lie, that their mothers laid on the babies. That was crapola science, okay? And so, but they all died from the same deficiency that caused these 1,700 kids under the age of 10 to die of this Keyshawn disease, which is hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease. So here we come. April 16, 2013, federal courts. Okay, we're talking April 16, 2013, federal courts. I sued the FDA. I sued the CDC and NIH, sued them all in federal court and won to get one nutrient put into baby formula. It was Enfamil and Similac, because that one nutrient would stop all these problems. Well, guess what? I prevailed. Well, a year and a half later, September 13th, 2014, the first one was big headlines on the cover page, the front page of the Charlotte Observer, kind of like New York Times for the New York City, right? Charlotte Observer for Charlotte, North Carolina. Headlines like Third World War. I mean, we're talking big headlines, bold. We don't know why, but sudden event death syndrome has vanished in the state of North Carolina. And 3 months later, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, Missouri, we don't know why, but sudden event death syndrome has vanished in the state of Missouri. And then every newspaper in the world came out and said, we don't know why, but the diagnosis of sudden event death syndrome has dropped drastically by 85 to 95% all over the world. Well, that's because by law, I forced the baby food manufacturers to put that one nutrient in it, and it stopped it all. So I'm the guy. And now if I had been a medical doctor that had given me 3 Nobel Prizes, one for each disease, but because I'm a naturopathic physician, you don't hear them talking about those diseases anymore. They just shut up.
Yep.
They're waiting for me to just die so they can discover it. Well, guess what? I'm going to outlive.
They're going to wait a long time. They're going to wait a long time. And I love the fact that our kids can get that nutrient just by adding kids toddy to their diet. So
That's
whether
correct.
there are kids, our grandkids, our great grandkids.
Are they working in are there roofers? They're digging holes. They're fencers. Are there athletes of any age? Or grandma walking around the block? They take a rebound. I put triple the amount of that nutrient in there. So for Theo Ratliff, so when he's drinking his stuff, Theo Ratliff was getting that nutrient. I didn't want him to die. He was too important with his story, right? So there's triple that nutrient, what you would normally expect to be in a sports drink. I tripled it in there. And that's why people who use our stuff don't die from that heart disease.
That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Well, we are at the top of the hour, and I had so many questions that we did not get to, but we will pick back up next week on Friday, our normal day, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific time. You are on Ask Doc Live with the very one and only Dr. Joel Wallach, who does treat us like dogs, but we do get better. And I love you for that, Dr. Wallach. There's no beating around the bush. You tell it the way it is.
Well,
And when
Rebecca,
people
the truth
follow,
is the
they
truth.
do it. The truth is the truth. That's
the
right.
truth. Yeah. And so the good Lord made us in such a way, we have all the equipment to maintain repair cells to at least 120. That's at least. People who live in places where everything is there naturally, guess what? When you look at the Bible days, people say, oh yeah, you have people, live to be 700 years of age. Let's see here, Methuselah lived to be 969. Let's go for that,
Right.
Rebecca. Let's go for 969.
Let's do it, Dr. Wallach.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Well, bye everybody for today. We will be back with you. Again, go to AskDocLive.com to get any of the products that Dr. Wallach has mentioned today, his most popular books, and also the replays of our program since we started back in July. Have a fantastic New Year's, everybody. I am Rebecca Kozak, and on behalf of my co-hosts, Jonty McCollier, Nasima Omar, and Ruth Ellen Sanchez, we love you, we appreciate you, and just wish you the best in everything that you do.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Cheers,
Happy New Year.
everyone. Happy New Year. Thank you, Rebecca, and all the co-hosts. I want to say cheers, everyone, when you drink your Beyond Tangy Tangerine, pollen burst, rebound, or whatnot. Here we go. For now, coffee. Cheers. See you next week, Friday. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Nasima.